Welcome to another summer of crafting at the Earlville Library. Today we're making Patriotic Fabric Flowers, and I've listed the supplies here so that if you don't have a library packet or you want to make more later, you'll have all the information to do so. Let's get started. So you're going to grab your skewer and the green yarn in your kit, dab a little bit of hot glue on there, and like you can see here, I'm just rolling it on the skewer. I only put that hot glue at the top, and then a couple places along the way I'll add some more hot glue as I feel necessary, but I didn't find that I needed to put hot glue on the whole skewer, so just a few places to tack it down. Make sure that you cover the entire skewer, and do this for all three of them. They'll be the stems of your flower. When you come to the end, you don't have to do the whole point of the skewer, but I do put a little hot glue at the very end and then use my scissors as a nice cold backing to roll the glue on, and it really hardens it nice and quickly and smooths it out. Here we have our three stems all covered in green yarn, and points are ready for staking into our pot, and we're just going to set these aside for now. If you picked up one of our library kits, you got one of either of these kinds of pots. There were two varieties, but they work out the same way, and you can follow these instructions no matter what kind of container you have. The first thing I do is attach the wider ribbon to the pot, and I just start with a little dab of hot glue, lay the ribbon on there, wrap it around, and adjust it until it's how I like it. And secure the back with a little more hot glue and cut any excess ribbon off. Next, I use the skinnier ribbon and lay it over top, and this I just tie on there, and I make sure that the knot is in line with one of the hot glue dots so that that doesn't become the front and you won't see any of those glue dots or the knots. You can set your pot aside when you're done, and now it's time to work with the fabric. We're going to pick two portions of each color of fabric. So take one and get rid of it, save it for later, we're going to need that. And we're going to cut the remaining two portions of each color into strips. So set it up long ways, like this, lay it out flat, and then fold it in half so that the edges meet and are nice and precise as well as you can. And then I included a little template. It's just a little guide. I was using my cutting mat and I found it was working really nicely, so I printed this out for you, and it just helps guide your strips. You can see I'm just going to cut kind of following that line that's behind the fabric, and it doesn't have to be completely precise. This is just going to get you in the ballpark. It's a rustic patriotic flower, so it doesn't have to be completely crisp and precise, but if you want to do that, you can break out your ruler and, go for it. Or if you have a rotary cutter or anything like that, that would work in this case too. But cut those into strips. You should have 7 strips for the first portion, and then grab the second portion for another 7 strips, and we're going to need 14 strips in each color altogether. Remember, keeping one full sheet of fabric aside for later. So again, you're going to want to do this in 2 sheets of red and 2 sheets of white so that you have 14 white, 14 red, and 14 blue strips altogether, leaving 1 full sheet of each color fabric aside. Now we're going to start the process of building the petals on the flower. To do this, grab the shower curtain rings and make sure they are all secured shut. So find that little connector point and snap it into place. Then choose a ring to start with and a color. You can alternate your colors and make your flowers multicolor. I'm going to demonstrate solid color flowers here. So I take a strip, fold it in half, and send the folded edge through the center of the ring and out the other side, kind of cutting it in half with that ring. Send your pointer finger and thumb through the loop that's created, pull those pieces apart, and then you can reach over and grab the tails. You're reaching over the loop, over the ring, and pull tight, and that's going to create a little knot. and the knot appeared there on the front. You're going to do the same thing with the next strip. Grab your next strip, fold it in half, and send that folded edge through the center of the ring. And I'm going to work always with the front of my flower facing up, so all those knots are showing. That'll ensure that they all end up on the same side. Open up the folded bit that went through the ring with your pointer finger and thumb. Grab those tails and pull them back through. And now you have 2 petals. And you're going to want to continue in this fashion until you have all 14 of those strips folded and on your shower curtain ring. Like I said, you can mix and match your colors, or you can do all solids like I did. It's totally up to you. And there you see the completed first flower. That's my red flower. And we're ready to do the same on the next 2 and 3 shower curtain rings. So set those flowers aside and we're going to work on the flower centers using one of the wooden discs included in the kit and one of the portions of uncut fabric. Grab one of those, cut yourself a little border around the circle. It doesn't have to be exact, just give yourself a little edge to work with. And then I'm going to use my hot glue gun and add some hot glue around a portion of the edge of the circle. I just work a little at a time because the glue does dry quickly. So I just did about half the circle, and then I start folding the fabric in and pressing it into the glue. Be careful, the glue is hot, obviously, so I use my scissors to help press the fabric into the glue without burning my fingers. And just work your way around the circle until it's all covered and all stuck to that wooden circle. If you've got a little excess like I do, grab a pair of scissors and just trim that off. We're going to cover all of this up with a little cardstock backing so you won't see any of these extra bits. Here's that cardstock. Grab your cardstock. It's already got a pre-drawn circle on it, so just cut that right out and make sure it's trimmed nicely so that it fits and hides behind your disc. Grab your hot glue, load the back of that circle and all those edges up with hot glue, and press that cardstock circle right into it. Be careful, this I found out is hot too, so flip that over on your work surface and press down until it's nice and secure. So that one's done, so you're now ready to do the blue and the red the same way. Now we've included a bit of embellishment to hide that seam between the back cardstock and the fabric even more. So grab one of your pearl sections of strung garland and throw a little hot glue just on the edge of your disc and carefully press those beads into that hot glue right on the edge. I place my disc flat on the work surface and then smooth the beads around, pressing on the flat surface so everything is level, and hold it there for a good minute while it sets so that it doesn't move on you as you attach the rest of the garland. Also be careful that you don't hot glue your disc to your work surface. And no surprise here, we're going to want to attach pearl garland to the edges of the other 2 discs for our flowers as well. With the beads attached to the discs complete, you can start to pair up which discs you want to go with which flower. I'm going to vary mine, and we're going to add our stems to the back. So grab a stem, and we're going to use a good amount of hot glue on the back of the flower and the stem to secure it, and pointy side is down. It's going to be the part that stakes into the pot. And to secure it even further, I'm just going to I'm eyeballing a tiny little strip of fabric on the back. You can see I'm going to eyeball it and measure it to size, and then drag some hot glue over top of that stem to further secure it to the back of the flower, using my scissors again so I don't have to touch the hot glue. And that's going to keep it a little extra secure once we attach it to the flower. I'm setting that aside to dry while I work on the other stems so that it's really secure and really set before I move on to attaching it to the flower. Once everything is completely cooled and set, I'm going to lay out how I want my flowers and centers to line up. Like I said, I'm going to alternate the colors, and I'm going to choose the front of each flower. Make sure that the front is pointed up. I put all the knots on the front because I like that extra detail. So whichever side you like better, make sure that's facing up. Lay out all your stems, and we're going to attach them now. So we're going to use a good amount of hot glue, but we're going to be strategic because we don't want to see the hot glue. So I dragged the hot glue all over the back of the beads, but I kept it close to the disc so that when I press the center into the flower, you don't see a whole lot of hot glue hanging around the side. And then just turn it over and press it right centered into that flower. Make sure that the hot glue is making contact with the petals underneath, and let it sit there for a moment and get really nice and secure. Obviously, repeat this across all of the flowers, and you'll have flowers ready to stake into your pot. And while that glue on your project is setting, go ahead and grab the sand in your kit and dump that right into the pot. This is going to make it nice and heavy so that those flowers don't fall over. Shake it out, center it, and grab the other vase filler full of red, white, and blue rocks and beads and gems, and that'll just kind of top it off there and make it a little more decorative. Then you're going to place each of your now completely set flowers into your pot, stake them right in there, and you'll see that I decided that one of my flowers was too long. I wanted the flower in the front to be shorter than everybody so we could see everything. So I just broke a bit off and reattached the end of the skewer and staked it right back into the project. And there you have it. You should have a completed Patriotic Fabric Flower display. This one's a little bit different. You can see here I have another option where I made everything all in the same color, but be creative and do whatever suits your style at home. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and tune in next month for July. We'll have another fun craft to do together.